That same morning, President Bush was in Florida visiting Emma Booker Elementary School. Everyone remembers this scene where students were reading a book. It was called The Pet Goat. Now, he already knew the first plane had hit the World Trade Center. At the time, people thought it was an accident somehow. But minutes later, the second plane hit. The White House Chief of Staff, Andy Card, needed to tell the president.
Page 153.
A second plane hit the second tower. America is under attack, were his words. Ari Fleischer was the former White House press secretary, spent the entire day with President Bush. Ari, take us through those first moments. You were there for every minute of it.
You know, as our motorcade pulled up to the Emma Booker Elementary School, I got a page, and it said a plane has hit the World Trade Center. I thought, accident, small plane. And then about 30 seconds before Andy Card walked into that room and whispered in the president's right ear, I was leaning against the left wall of that room, about 20 feet over from the president's left shoulder, and I got a second page. And the second page told me, second plane has hit the second tower. And I just knew at that moment, Laura, that it was terrorism. And I just started to brace and get ready for everything that I knew would have to unfold as the United States defended itself.
The president had to be whisked away for national security reasons. To the extent you can tell us what happened, please do tell us what happened shortly thereafter.
Well, interestingly, the Secret Service did not think we were under an immediate threat. Otherwise, they never would have let him go to the gym at that school where he addressed the nation, spoke very briefly, talked about the terrorist attack in our country. Then we quickly got into the motorcade and started flying to Air Force One. That's when the third plane hit the Pentagon. We learned about it in the motorcade. We boarded Air Force One, and Laura, when we boarded, the president was told there are still 6 aircraft in the sky that have not responded to the order to land. So at that moment, we knew aboard Air Force One, 3 planes had hit their targets. There are 6 more missiles in the sky. A little while after that, we got another bit of information saying a plane went down near Camp David. Now, Camp David is about 100 miles from Shanksville, but the first report on Air Force One was near Camp David. At the same time, the media was full of stories about there's a car bomb at the State Department, the mall is on fire. At 10:32 that morning, the president was on the phone with the bunker, and the vice president in the bunker said to him, we got a call at the White House saying Angel is next. Angel is the Secret Service code word for Air Force One. That sent a shiver down the pilot's spine of Air Force One, making him think, is this an inside job? Who could possibly have the code word for Air Force One? He actually stationed an Air Force security officer at the steps going up to the cockpit on Air Force One to make certain that nobody could come up those steps and take down Air Force One. I mean, it was just a swirl of information, much of it wrong, all of it scary.
Now, Ari, I want to play this cockpit recording from United Flight 93, which was the one that was believed to be headed toward either the White House or the Capitol building.
United 93, that traffic for you is 1 o'clock, 12 miles eastbound 370.
Negative contact, we're looking, United 93.
United 93, Cleveland, if you hear the center ident.
Keep remaining sitting. You have the ball board.
Where were you and the president at that point?
We were aboard Air Force One. We did not hear those audio tapes until days later after September 11th. We didn't hear those on Air Force One. And of course, that's the plane that went down in Shanksville. And you know, that's the heroism of the crew, of the passengers that took down that plane. The 9/11 Commission, having studied it, they reported that it's never going to be known whether the target of that plane was going to be either the White House or the Capitol. The hijackers were actually arguing about which of those 2 targets they were going to go after, and we will never have that resolved.
And Ari, the question that was always discussed in the years afterward, who gave the order to be able to take down United 93 or any civilian aircraft if it was understood to be an immediate threat to the president or Washington or any other installation? How did that unfold?
Yeah, anywhere. That originally was a decision made or action taken in the bunker underneath the White House by Dick Cheney that was brought to the president. The president approved it. There is some issue about the sequencing of that decision. I think that the decision was first made in the bunker, then it got passed up to the president. The president authorized it. You know, the communications on Air Force One that day, this is another one of the little-known stories, was terrible. The phone from the president down to the bunker cut out on several occasions, which is absolutely amazing that Air Force One, of all places, which should be designed so at a moment of heightened crisis, everything works perfectly. The communications kept cutting out.
Ari, just one final question. When you see the Taliban in control, the U.S. having to rely on them for security and getting planes out, on the 20th anniversary of 9/11, I got to get your take on that.
You know, Laura, when I saw the pictures of the new government, the Taliban government, in those little snapshot pictures, my first thought was those are the very same pictures that I watched the president put an X through as we arrested them or we brought them to justice and killed them. And now, Joe Biden's restored them to power. That was my first thought. We took those people out. Joe Biden brought them right back.
It's just, Ari, I'm so happy you came on. We can never forget what happened that day. And thank you so much for your perspective and your memories.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.